Hello everyone, I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This is Steve coming back with another video for your enjoyment. So in this series what we're going to be talking about is just kind of some of the things I've been working on. As I mentioned about the machine language project, that it's coming in, a matter of a couple weeks here now, that I would be doing my homework. And I can assure you I've been doing a lot of work other than just, working on machine language. I've been working on my website, a lot of stuff. But even at the same time, I've still been doing a lot of work. I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of studying. I've been doing a lot of reverse engineering, as you've seen with the videos. And I'm working on reverse engineering an actual live game right now. It's actually called Gauntlet. And I've got all the source code, and I was going to show you some of the things with that. I'm using the Infiltrator still to go through the tools and, learn how the code works. You can see the sprites, you can see images, you can see everything in memory. And maybe I'll show you some more stuff about that today, but anyways, let's get started. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I just want to excuse the weird assortment of windows I have going on here. I've mentioned this before, but this is one trick that I've learned years ago, how to overlay your windows and how to easily get to one window to another. So for example, if I want to get to Infiltrator, I already have it right here. I just click on it and it instantly, what's really cool about this tool is once you click on it, it instantly brings up all the windows too. It takes priority over all the other windows. And if I want to get to CBM PRG Studio, I just click on it here. If I want to get to device, I just click on it here, which I'll go over what I'm doing here in a minute. If I want to get to, let's see, my calculator's down here. Yep. And I think something's over here. Let's see. Okay, that's a calculator. And the other thing is, I was looking for my Excel. Some reason I didn't overlay that one right or something. I should put it right there. But anyways, my Excel, and I wanted to mention that this document is now complete. Now, this has been a massive undertaking. The only thing it is missing, though, is the GEOS section. But other than that, everything else is in here. Eventually, at the last part, I got so bored. Well, how would you say it? It just took up so much time, so I decided not to add the GEOS section for now. But everything else is in here. So if you want to find a memory address, for those who are asking about the Commodore 64's memory, it's all right in this document. So if you want to look up something, you just hit the Control F key just like you would normally do. And then you would search for that document. For example, if I wanted to find this memory address, this hexadecimal address, I can search through it. And you can see it's the horizontal fine scrolling. So that's done. The other thing here is I've been doing some disassembly here with Santa's Busy Day. And I've already showed you this on the reverse engineering series, but what I've really done is I've actually went through and I documented this program more in depth than I originally did. And I started learning some new things as I started going through it. I learned about saving joystick values instead of just trying to read them every single time, which is done down here somewhere. Let me just zoom in on this a little bit. I might just have to look it up. I can't remember where I put it. Right there it is. So right here is what you do is you save them into from D0. Let me just search it again here. DC00 is the joystick. Right here it gets the joystick values, and what it does here is it's checking to see if there's a 15 in here. That's the hexadecimal for F. And if there is, that means it's stationary. There's no activity going on. Other than that, it's saving them in this 838 first, and then eventually it passes it on to 845. So if you go back, and since I documented, if you just type in joystick here, it'll now show you all the labels for a joystick. And I just called this one read joystick. I found the main routine also in this while I was going through it. I'll show you the joystick ones here. So I was able to define all the joystick, which I originally didn't know. There's the joystick up, there's the down, there's the left, there's the right. And as I mentioned, the main routine, so I think I just called it main loop. Right there, I found the main loop. So this is really important. I can see where all the activity is really happening. As soon as the game is running instantly, it's running inside of a main loop there. Some other things is I was still playing with some of the scrolling in that, and I learned a little bit more about some of the scrolling routines. And I kind of wrote them on a little sheet of paper I have here. This is just something to the side here if you want to see that. This is just my notes right there. These are telling me the memory addresses that I found in this program, and this is just a decimal for it, which you also see. Since I'm not real super at reading hex, I often convert to decimal, but I'm going to still write all my programs in hexadecimal to make it easier. I mean, to stay consistent with the pattern of how it's always been. But for my own self, I sometimes have to convert values into decimal because I still can't read decimal completely yet. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do that, but I'm trying. So anyways, regarding that, this is just all the stuff I've been doing with that. And let me see what else. I was trying to see if I added anything else to it here. So I put everything below is understood. So what this is everything else I've defined to the point that I understand what this is all doing. Like this is flashing the screen down here. This is updating the score. This draws the energy bar, the game over section. So all that's kind of understood. And some of the stuff above is kind of understood now. So I can probably move that section there now that I understand where the main loop is. So everything above here is probably, increase the score is good. Everything above here, this line right here, going upward, this is the scrolling routine. So I'm still taking this apart to really understand how the scrolling is working. I've been able to do some interesting things in it. Let me show you that. Okay, so I kind of paused it here for a second to show you what's going on here. So essentially what we have going on here, let me move this out of the way here. So I had to pause, the leaf blower just came by. Okay, so we finally got rid of that, and I wanted to show you what I've got going on here now. You can see I've basically got a half of a map going on here, and we still got a sprite character. So if I move here, and I actually paused it. So if I move here, you can now see that the map is only halfway on the screen. So essentially what I've done is I figured out where it draws the map at, and I was able to stop it at that point. You can see that the map is up here. Now if I go back in and I stop this, and I go back into this line and I change it, actually, give me a second. Okay, so I'm back here. So right here, this is the line I replaced right here. So this 846 has something to do with how far down I think it scrolls, because you can see it says increment 846. So somewhere in the map here, it's probably storing data that's keeping track of what's in the scroll routine. So when you're changing this 1, it's basically drawn halfway down the screen. So originally, I think it was like 4. If I run it again. Yeah, that's it. So now you can see it's all the way on the screen now. So here it was originally only taking half the screen, but now it's also taking half the screen. And also, you may notice I turned off the background collisioning and stuff like that too. Okay, so I wanted to show you that, to kind of show you my progress and stuff. Going back up here. Actually, this part's understood too. This is where it draws the data on the screen. So it looks like probably everything above this point is where the scroll routine is stored and happening at, and where it's drawn in the screen and everything else and stuff like that. This changes the color of the maze background, so it's a very simple routine right here. So as I start taking it out, I realize the only thing I'm left with is this section right in here. It's a very small section, so the scroll routine is actually not that big, and it doesn't use horizontal fine scrolling. It doesn't use vertical scrolling. It is used some kind of a special scrolling that they basically is like a memory scroll, so it's really not fine scrolling, just to kind of put that out there. So let's get back to some other things here. I'm going to go ahead and drop that one down for now. The other thing, the bigger thing I've been really working on here, whoops, is this. So this was a favorite game back in the days I used to play. It's called Gauntlet, if you guys ever seen this. But the reason why I really want to get in this one is it offers full screen scrolling, which I'm interested in, as well as other things we could really play with and stuff like that. Rasters and stuff like that. Just anything to make a game worthwhile. I don't know if you guys have ever played this fun game. Probably one of the more popular shooters that they made back in the days. And you have to shoot these things, but they just keep coming out, essentially. So anyways, I'm going to pause this again. Wind up dying. And we're going to get to the code of this, which you've already seen me do this earlier. Now, also, this is the actual code for the entire game. I actually copied it into Word here. So I can go through here. What's really cool is I can search in this instantly, and I can find any memory address, kind of like Infiltrator does, except I can go and I can edit it, because what I eventually would hope to be able to do, and this is a sprite location right here, I eventually hope to be able to start hacking this thing apart and start figuring out how things work with it. So this is actually the border color right there. Just different things you can kind of do. And in regard to that also, I can use this memory map that I have built to kind of find anything I need, and it saves, you know, having to pull out the memory. Just in case you guys don't know, like I said, this is a complete memory map of the Commodore 64. So anything you want to know in here, if you just type in, for example, sprite here even, it'll pick up any words in it. So see, it basically will go to that section. Right there, you see sprite shapes right there. So it's basically picking up whatever I type in here. If you type in character set, see, it goes instantly to where the character set is. So it'll find anything you want. Because it's faster because it's searching by words rather than just having to go through a book and try to read it. Especially for people who don't know anything about the Commodore 64 memory, who are new and want to be able to explore it. This is a great way, and the reason why I spent almost a month working on this thing, because I'm determined to try to get things out to people, and also determined to finally build either a demo or an actual game. Now, I've got a really good game in mind. I've been thinking of it. It's actually one that I played back on the Atari a long time ago. And it's kind of like a cavern game where you're kind of running from screen to screen. So you don't really have to go into fine scrolling, although I'd like to be able to implement that later. But, you know, for now, I think this is a good way to start. Okay, so you guys have seen this one before, and I know I have worked on this thing in ages, but the really good thing is when I got back to this, I realized what I did is I actually eventually mastered fine scrolling. To my knowledge, I didn't realize that I actually had done it until I went and did this one day, and I was playing with it, and I started moving around here like this. You'll see the memory map just like it did before. You have to get like right toward the center of it, and once you get toward the center here, now that's a little bit screwed up there, but you can see that there was one part I had it on the screen where I really had it going on, but anyways, I don't know why it's not working here now. But what I've come to realize is I have to figure out how long the map is, and then I have to calculate. This thing totally crashed on me. I have to calculate how far to move over. So if I'm moving over so many screen lines, I have to take into consideration and calculate how big the map is to get to the next section of the map and so on. But anyways, that's enough beside the point right now. So the big thing right now is to really start going into, like I said, and start playing with these programs. And we're finally going to get into Infiltrator here so I can show it to you. I know you guys have probably been waiting on this, but this is the code for Gauntlet. So like I said, this thing works with any game, as I've mentioned before in the past with the original demo. Any game you load into here, you load into a ROM, you can instantly look at the code for that. And I'll show you an example here. This one is just for Gauntlet, for example. As you can see, these are all the characters. I noticed they only have really one sprite going on. There's some of the objects down here. But I'll show you how to load in new ones in case you guys are curious with this. You just go to the device here, and you can load them in here. So remember, if you want to save them, you have to go to the snapshot here. So what you want to do first is you want to get an actual game running. So I'm just going to reset this for a second. Oh, I'm going to take it off pause first. Okay, so I've got it reset there. And then you go to, like you're going to attach an item, a file or whatever. Let's say if we wanted to do, I think I might already have Batman. Let me see. Actually, I don't have Batman. Let's do Batman, for example. So I think I got Batman to run. Let me just try that one. Ocean Software. That's the directory. That's kind of weird. So I know Pitfall II works, but I've showed that one before, so I really want to see if I could get this Batman going on. There's a D64 right here. Let's try this one. This is so I had to turn this one down. This one's kind of really noisy, but this is the Batman game that I found. I don't know if the joystick's even working. Let me see. You can go up here, you can enable it with settings. It might be the other joystick. You just have to kind of swipe them sometimes. There it is. And you can kind of see this one doesn't seem to be like a full screen scroller, but it is something we could look at. I'm gonna pause this one. And then now we're going to go inside, we're going to load it. I'm sorry, we've already got, we're going to make a snapshot for it, so we go over here to snapshot, save snapshot image. Oh, I actually need to be running it, that's right. Okay, so I put it in a folder called C64 Games, and just call it Batman. I'll say Batman Ocean Software. So I know, because there's several versions of Batman you could use. We'll pause this one. And then we come back over here to Vice and the Infiltrator, click on Vice, and then we look for Batman. This is what is called a Vice snapshot. So the snapshots work directly within the Infiltrator. So now, you probably can't tell, but it's loaded in here. Memory starts loading in. But anyways, it doesn't seem to have a lot of text in this one. Or it might have not loaded it. Let's go ahead and disassemble it. One thing I've noticed, you have to go in here, you have to click this disassemble thing to allow it to read the new code in. It should be done. Now let's go back to, we'll just go look at the sprites here, for example. You can still see the old ones here, but that's just because it's remembering where they were previously. So if you go here and click on it again, it should reload the new one, and there it is. Now it's loading in the new data. There's the Batman. Yes, it looks like the penguin guy or something. Remember, you can always go in here, you can change the character set to match what's on the screen. If you wanted to change this to like a blue or something, change it to a blue, and you can see it there. So there's the character set for the Batman, or the sprite, excuse me. That was like the Joker with the hat there or something. And then you can go over here, just like usual, you can go to the character set. Now this one was really interesting last night. I figured out how to do a screenshot. Basically like directly inside the game here. So this should reload the new data again. And this is looking at the hexadecimal address in memory here. As you're scrolling through this, these are the banks where the character sets are located. You might have to change the colors. You can go back in here, you can change the colors again. I don't know what colors they're using for that, but sometimes you have to play around with it if you don't really know the code well and try to figure out where stuff is in the game and stuff like that. Eventually you might come across it as you're playing with it. It's like that one might be a character set. You'll know it when you see it because it'll be real, like the sprites, it'll be real easy to make out what it looks like and stuff like that. So looks like that might be some kind of a map or something. Okay, and then now we should be able to go back, hopefully, and see the hex now. Let's see if there's anything in here now. You can change this to 32 bytes, 16 bytes, and this will enlarge the window here when you do that. You also double click on this, I found out, and it increases the size of the hex window. Hexadecimal is just basically looking at the data inside the actual program itself. I'm almost convinced there might not be no text in this game. And looking at the actual code, that's where we go to disassemble here. Not that one. and these are going to allow you to look just like before at the CAI. This is like the joystick. The C00 is the joystick. So here's where the joystick's being read in the actual game. You can look up those locations. Here's another place where it's being read. Another place where it's being read. And this one's kind of being read all over the place, I noticed. So this one probably didn't really do a good job of saving the joystick routine. Like often what they'll do is they'll save the joystick values to use them somewhere over and over again instead of referring back to the joystick. So here's the graphics. And if you need to know, for those who are not hex savvy like myself, you can use this, the calculator here. It'll be set to standard by default. So just go here. This is in Windows 10. Click on this little whatever button here, and then you're just going to set it to programmer. And you can set on these for hexadecimal. This is octal. This is binary decimal. So if you want to know what this conversion is in decimal, you just type D01111, and you can see it's 53,265. So this is basically this section right here, since it's passing in the bit of 7F, which again I can't convert 7F in my head. 7F is 127. So this more likely may have something to do with, let's see, 127 is bit 7. I'm going to look that up real quick. So actually we could use our map too. So you can go here and you can just type in that same memory address. So I just forgot what it was. D01111. And we can look it up here using this as a guide. And we could see trying to get back to the 53 at the beginning here. Anyways, I know it's up here. If I go up here and I scroll up here, where are you at? I'm just going to type in 53,265. Let me pause here a second. Okay, I don't have a quick search option built into Excel. If anybody knows how to build like quick search options into these other than using the find, let me know about it. I know how to use bookmarks in Word, but I haven't figured out how to use them in Excel yet, or even if they're built in yet. I know you can do hyperlinks and stuff like that. But anyways, I wanted to go here to show you what bit 7 is. Bit 7 is setting the raster compare register at 53,266. And how did I know that this 7F, which is 127, is this location for bit 7? I set this up directly in the map. So if you go up here at the top, you can see bit 7 is 128. To do with, and again, this is all by trial and error. This might have something to do with, let me see here, go back to my memory location. Wait, actually, that one was actually good. Let me go back to that real quick. Which is what's really cool about this. I also have basic programs built into here that could be a little bit helpful too. Right here, you can see it's setting 248. This might, I'm trying to figure out whether this is a vertical fine scrolling that's being set, or if it's actually just setting the bit map. Now, this game doesn't use vertical fine scrolling, so it may just be the multicolor or something, or what do you call it? The bits are right here. So fine scroll, no, blank entire. It might be the bitmap graphics or extended color mode or something like that. Maybe it's using extended color mode for the actual game. I don't know. It's got kind of an interesting look to it. Looks like it might be extended color mode. It's kind of contrast and dark. Extended is a deeper, rich, takes advantage of the background characters and the foreground characters to give more depth to the game itself. So we'll probably go on to another game because this one really isn't going to give me a whole lot. I think I'm going to load in Pitfall II since I already have it on here anyway. So one thing is go back to Vice. We already have this one saved, so we don't need to create a snapshot. And I actually do have Dragon's Lair on here. I could probably show you Dragon's Lair if you want to see that later. But Skate Rock, that's a scrolling one too. But since we said Pitfall II, we'll just go to that one for now. And it should be preloaded, or we just have to disassemble it again, assembling it. Saving some time there. Okay, now we go back to our disassemble in the actual game here. And we go to the sprites, just like before. You're still going to see the Batman until you click on him again, and there's the new ones. So it loaded in the Pitfall 2s now. I also found out by looking at the sprite editor with Pitfall 2 that the walls in the background are also the sprites that they're using. And this one does have a little bit of scrolling in it, the vertical scrolling that is. So there's no text in this one, so we probably won't look at this one. We could look at the character set. I don't know if I found much on the character set, but we'll take a look at it anyway. Usually somewhere around here is where you usually start seeing it. And it's just all trial and errors. We're trying to figure out, you know, this is the screen and this is the character set. So this is the difference between these two. See if there's anything loaded in here. I couldn't find anything on this one when I played with it. Like it's all empty or something. I like how it sets it in sections. You can just instantly go through sections of memory, though. That's kind of cool. And okay, so probably not going to get a whole lot more through this one. Yeah, there it goes. That might be actually part of the character set right there. You can kind of see once it comes into view because it doesn't look like a bunch of garbage like you saw earlier, and that looks a little bit more defined there. And you might be able to sometimes see some of the graphics. I might even see some of the trees in here and stuff like that. You could go in here, you could change the colors to make it a little bit more defined to what the game might look like, and it might start standing out after a while. So that might be where the character set's stored. We could go to a different one. Since I mentioned Dragon's Lair, we'll go to Dragon's Lair. And instantly, as you click on these, it should preload it. Actually, there's a screen right there. That's actually the river, it looks like. Yep. There's actually a map right there. Check it out. And let me load it up to show you. Okay, so I'm loading up the Dragon's Lair now. This one's Escape from Singe's Castle. Here's some of the music for it. I said this is a really great tool if you really want to get into taking games apart. You can press the space bar to skip the trainer part, says. Here's kind of like the title screen. You could instantly go in here too, and you could snapshot this too if you're curious. Let's just pause it. Actually, we don't want to pause it. We want to create the snapshot image here. Let's just say we wanted to create Dragon's Lair title or something, whatever you want to call it, to save the snapshot. And then I'm going to save it in C64 games there. I'm going to pause this for a second and reload over here to Disassembler. And or we can go to the sprites here, and it should be able to pick up any sprites that's picking up in this actual part right here, if there are any sprites. And there's some right there already. You can see some kind of, just like the door or something might have been a sprite. So if you look at the door right here, you can see it kind of right there a little bit. I'm going to put this behind the scenes here. You can see this wants to minimize. I had to minimize some so I can get this all on the same screen. Shut this one down. Okay, now you can kind of see them together there. I'm going to move this over here for a second. So if you look at it, I don't know what that is. It looks like it might be the door. Well, like I said, what it's doing... Oh, there's some more. Oh, actually, there's the part where he's in the river. There's like the rowing part. I knew that was a sprite, so there it is. So that'll be the next part. Let me just load it here and show you. I think this is the other doors. You have to switch them out. So you just turn this one off and then turn this one back on. And you just press the fire button. Okay, I brought it back here. For some reason it's crashed. I can't get it to load. So I'm just going to pause this. But you can see that these are the actual screens. There you can see a little bit more. There's actually a man that gets moving down the river here. And let me show you something here. Just realized I had the sound down too, so I need to turn it back up. But here is a YouTube for it. And if you pay attention over here as we're watching the video, you can see the character is right there. First the top half of them, and then the boat, just like that. Right? Actually, that looks like that might be it. When you see a little flash here, like that, that's a little sprite they made, I guess. And the crashing, he crashes into this part of him crashing and stuff like that. I'm gonna pause this just in case this music is copyrighted. I wanted to show you that since I can't get this one to load, but you can see it's the same thing. Now we could go in and we could load in another one. You could also remember you can also look at the colors, but this one doesn't really have a whole lot in it here. So I really didn't want to. I should have brought up some different ones here. That's interesting. Okay. Anyways, I wanted to show you. We could check to see if there's any text. I know there's text in this one. We saw that earlier, so we should be able to see something in here. This hexadecimal is also a way of looking at the text in the game right there. I just saw some. Right there. Escape from Singe's Castle. Broken and packed by. This is where they did their hack at. Inserted their own text there. Might be able to find some of the text to the game if we go through here. It probably reloaded over it or something. Okay, so we can't see no more hex there. Character set. You can just click on this again to get that character set. It should preload again. We saw this one earlier, actually. So this is the river rapids and stuff like that. And of course, the code. And these are the sprites here. So if we go here to sprites here, we can see where the sprites are loading in. This is where they load the sprites. If we wanted to see anything else to do with again, I have to use my hex converter. 53264. So this is that. Trying to think of what it's called. It's called the most significant byte right there. So the 53264 to D010 is the most significant byte. So that's where it basically stores that at. And like I said, if you don't know how to read hex, it's something I would encourage you to try to learn. But you can always use your converter if you don't really know it. Like I said, I don't really know how to read all hex, but I am familiar with some of the smaller hex numbers, like how to count to 10, 20, or whatever. So, next thing we could do here is try a different one. And this is just all, you know, checking out. Here's I think this is Indiana Jones. Indie Raid. Let me just try that one here. I think this is the Indiana Jones one. I don't see anything in this one. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's some sprites there. This is a different kind of Indiana Jones. Look at these little sprites. They're kind of simple little sprites. It's probably an older game too. You can see them loading in there. Let's see if there's any text in this one. Raiders of the Lost Ark. So this is a Raiders of the Lost Ark. Press fire to start. Character set. Might not be stored there. Now usually they're stored somewhere way down here. I'm just looking at the screen memory, nothing in there. It's like that might be close to something that looks like graphic. You can tell, like I said, once it starts looking a little bit more defined, that's how you can see what a character set. And then you can always go back and you can change the colors. If, for example, this was brown or something like that. And then, of course, you've got the code and all that. And anything you see with like D000, this is the horizontal position of the sprites. This is another horizontal position of a sprite. This might be horizontal or vertical. And you can always refer to that by going back to the memory map here and just type it in D004. And right there you can see it's 53,252. I actually found that one pretty fast. I'm pretty impressed. Okay, where did my Infiltrator go again? As soon as you click on it, it brings everything up. That's kind of cool. I'll leave it over here so I can see it again. Okay, so going through here, there's some more sprites and stuff like that. And you can go through the code here. Oh, what I was also going to show you is you can go through, you can copy the code and stuff like that. I think I might have showed that one in the other video, but you can just right-click on it and you can copy it and stuff like that. You can jump to RAM addresses here. You can also click these little things. I didn't show this last time, but you can instantly move through sections of memory very quickly. I think that's awesome. So if you wanted to see the character set, I think it's stored somewhere around here. Or not the character set, but like the code is usually more often you can find it between here and usually in here. Now anything up to here is the ROMs, and they don't usually store anything in the ROMs. Everything's got to be stored in the RAM. So usually you can always find the program, like I said, usually between here and here. I don't think 1000 would actually do it. Let me see. $4096. That is an open area, so you might be able to find something in that area. And actually, they do have this. This would be the 0 page right here, so it wouldn't be there. It could sometimes be stored in here. You can start seeing. If you want to know also how to identify like where a program starts and stuff like that, just you want to look for something called a set interrupt, and usually you can find these in the CIAs. Or I'm sorry, no, interrupts. Excuse me. Interrupts right here, and you can instantly try to figure out where the interrupts might be starting. And sometimes when you go through here, you might find an SCI or something like that. Here's a CLD. That's a clear decimal. Usually something around here. Sometimes you can find it, but if you click on these, you might find out where the program starts and stuff like that. Because if you find a set interrupt more often, sometimes you can find a starting location. There's one right there. SCI, set interrupt. So this is where it's actually setting up an interrupt. And if you wanted to know how to read these, we'll have to pull up another version of Vice. Okay, to save some time, I just reloaded Vice here, and I also got the values for these memory registers right here. Which, did I just lose them? Actually, we could just do these ones, I guess. I don't know why I just lost the other ones. Let's see, E2, now this is it. E2 and FC is 226 and 252. So if we go here, and remember these are the high and the low bytes. If you want to kind of pay attention to where it says 0318, we can go to our mapping thing here, and you can see 0318 is 792 and 793. So these are the where the interrupts are basically being stored in this part of the game here. So we could go here, we could type and convert these, take the low byte, the 226, and then you add it to the high byte, which is the 252, multiplied by 256. So this is storing at 64,738. I wonder if that's anything out of curiosity. Might be able to figure out what it's doing sometimes. So power on reset routine. Looks like we just found the reset routine. This is very interesting. If you find the reset routine, often you can find the start of the game. So we may have just found the start of this game itself. This simple little game here, whatever it is, this Indiana Jones. You might be able to start the interrupt routine and figure out where the game loads in and stuff like that. You could go in and start changing it, but that's interesting. I'll just pause and press some things there. Okay, so like I said, that just helped us find the reset routine. And actually, I'm going to make a note of where I found that at. Just going to write down the memory address, 1D09. Sometimes you want to make like your note here, start a reset routine. And reset routine is like on the Commodore 64, whenever you're trying to like restart and get back into BASIC, for example, they often lock out the break key and stuff so you can't break out of it. And that's what this one is doing. It's probably just relaunching right back to the interrupt so it can just restart the game instead of allowing you to break out of the game. But usually, like I said, you can usually probably, I could probably start it in this location, 1D09. 1D09. So it probably started at 7433. So 7433, if you sys to 7433, that might be the actual location where it starts. So let's see if we can get this one to load. So here's the actual game that we were looking at the code for earlier. It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I think this is the one. Actually, let me snapshot this to be sure. I might have been looking at Raiders earlier, I think. So I'm going to snapshot this one, save it in C64 Games, pause this one, and we'll go back and look at the one for this. Okay, so I'm back. I just looked up my folder here after clicking on Vice up here, and I have it in C64 Games here. So you'll see Indy Last Crusade. Just click on Open, and now we know it's reloaded it into our sprite editor and everything else. So this is actually the character set for it. This one actually looks like that we might have already found it. Excuse me for that. Okay, so the character set, there you go, look at that. Indiana Jones. So it's actually picked up part of the title screen here, it looks like. Kind of cool. I like how it came together too. They did this one back to back essentially here. So if we go in here to sprite, we should be able to pick out the sprites. Okay, so we're back here and we're going to go ahead and see what sprites we can pick up in this. There's some. So it's a little heart or something. There we go. There's Indiana Jones. And I said if you want to kind of play with it here, play with the colors, and you can kind of get it to match what it might look like over there. Well, this is pretty close. This might be a different color of a brown or something. Maybe not that dark. And instead of the blue, let's see. The blue is kind of like the outside of his body or something. I think red looks right. So you have to kind of keep playing with it so you can see, you know, close to what it looks like. But anyways, you want to look at more of the characters here? Just go down here and scroll through. You can see part of his legs here. There's a lot of sprites in this one, actually. I saw something there. Something about limited, super, something limited. That might have been the hack, because this is a hack itself. It might have been the hack text they put in the game there. So it looks like there might not be really any text in this one. And disassemble it. We can go look at the code now. We're looking at the interrupts. You can go to the sprites and see where the sprites are loading in at. We could go back to the Excel document, see what D01C, I think that might be, I don't know, 53276. So that's actually the multicolor right there. This is this is the horizontal position of the sprite right there. So these are actually where the sprites are probably being set up in the actual game. Here's a joystick routine, DC00. And if you want to know, just go in here again, DC00. And if you don't know, it'll take you to, eventually, to the joystick right there. It's down farther here. Joystick values for the game. So disassembly takes and reverse engineering takes a long time, as you've already seen. But you can kind of play with this tool and see what you can come up with. I showed you a lot of good examples here today. I think this kind of adds on to what we talked about before and shows you a little bit more about the path I'm taking toward disassembly and, you know, learning more about, you know, games from a lower perspective so we can start writing our own stuff. Not sure what else I could really tell you. I think everything I've showed you with all the tools is pretty much everything that I've learned so far. You can change options here if you wanted to change how your colors look and stuff like that. This is just to customize stuff you can do with it. I really don't mess with a lot of this stuff. You could add comments to the game, I mean to the code itself. Like I said, I don't really mess with a lot of this stuff. I haven't really found a whole lot of use for it. But going back to Disassembler here, you could look up like the music in the game or the sound effects. These are where the sound effects are found. I think I showed this one originally, but you can go in here, you can save it, but you have to change this value here to wherever the starting, let's say it started at 8,000, you'd set it to 8,000 to however far it saves. I usually just save it to there or something like that, usually end up where it would normally be stored in memory. And then you would export. You can set it as a binary or a PRG. And if you set it to binary here, so if you went in and you change some of this code or whatever, you could actually set it and, you know, save it. I could save UIND or whatever you're going to call it, basically. And bitmaps, if you want to basically go in and look at if there's any bitmaps in it. I don't know if we ever really looked at this before. Might be some bitmaps in this. They all look the same there. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like there might be something in here. We'll probably come across the title screen. And it's just all a matter of trial and error, guys. But this tool is a great way, as I mentioned so many times, to really disassemble your code and really look at it from a lower perspective and try to start putting it together so you can start building your own stuff. So I'm not going to find anything under the bitmaps for now. But I think this video has been long enough, so I don't want to make it 1 hour, but I hope this information was helpful to you. At least you can kind of see I'm moving forward with the machine language project and moving forward with some ideas of putting together some things for a simple little routine or something. I said it'll just be a simple little, maybe a little demo game or something where you just go from screen to screen. Like I said, I like the idea of a cavern game where you're basically going and picking up treasures and you're shooting down monsters and you're saving people that's lost in a cave or something like that. Or something real simple, you know, platformer like, you know, Mario Brothers or whatever we come across, we'll just kind of see it, play it by ear. But yeah, this has been interesting for this video. I hope this has been helpful to you and, you know, guiding you along in your quest for, you know, really learning about disassembly and basically, you know, taking games and create them and making them your own and stuff like that. You could go and you could create your own hacks. This one you kind of just have to jump on it, whoops, and stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for watching, and please like, favorite, subscribe to this channel as always. I appreciate all your feedback and everything you can tell me. You know, anything you've learned about hacking, anything you've learned about disassembly would be really helpful here. So I guess we're just going to call this one a day. I'll try to get some more videos out there soon, but mostly I've been working on Disassembly and my website and just lots of other things in general. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and have a great day.